Wednesday, the 7th day of February 2024. A very good afternoon and welcome to the News International Edition. We are coming to you live from our Vision Group headquarters here in Kampala, Uganda. I'm Emma Akwero. We start today from the UK, where King Charles III has been diagnosed with cancer. But luckily, the 75-year-old king the diagnosis was made early, and UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak just confirmed. The British leader said he is in regular contact with the monarch after his cancer diagnosis and that their communication would continue as normal. King Charles is currently admitted to a clinic in London and is expected to make a full recovery. The announcement that King Charles has cancer has been responded to with an outpouring of good wishes for the British king.
Sad news for all the world, not only for the citizens of United Kingdom. We pray for him. We are really heartened to hear that bad news. We pray for him to get a quick recovery.
I mean, this is my first time in Buckingham Palace, and I just visited it, and it's beautiful, and I just got this news, and it's terrible. It's sad.
Yeah, it's extremely sad, and I don't know, I'm just in shock, but you know, I hope for the best, and we're here to just give our support, and yeah, it's crazy. I don't know, we happen to be here at the same time.
British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak said the cancer was caught early and that the monarch, who took office at the age of 75, is expected to make full recovery. The Queen, Camilla, was seen going to and leaving the clinic that Charles is said to be admitted to, while his son Prince Harry, who moved away to the US with his family, is expected to touch down to the UK today. Buckingham Palace said Charles had been diagnosed with cancer and had begun treatment, sparking a flood of support from around the world. Charles, who became king upon the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, on September 8, 2022, has generally enjoyed good health, barring injuries from polo and skiing. But the palace said that during his recent hospital procedure for a benign prostate enlargement, a separate issue of concern was noted. Londoners and tourists reacted to the king's cancer diagnosis.
Anyone like that, they feel almost like immortal, and then something like that happens, and it's a reminder that we're just human beings.
Bad. I feel bad. Yeah, it's not a good news. One sick of every person, every people, it's a bad news.
Sad about it. I think it's interesting with all the news about him that it's not to do with kind of the prostate thing, and they've said it's kind of a different cancer. But hopefully they've caught it early and it will be a positive outcome for him.
Terrible news indeed, but we pray for a quick recovery for the king. Now, U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem today, Wednesday, to push for a ceasefire as the Gaza war enters its 5th month. Blinken also met with Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani in Doha as part of his Middle East crisis tour, seeking a new truce and end to the Israeli-Hamas war.
Israel and Hamas have been weighing a proposal brokered by U.S., Qatari and Egyptian mediators that would be expected to temporarily halt the fighting and see Gaza hostages freed and Palestinian prisoners released. There is still a lot of work to be done, Blinken said in Doha late on Tuesday after earlier stops in Saudi Arabia and Egypt on his 5th Middle East crisis tour since the October 7th attack sparked the war. But we continue to believe that an agreement is possible and indeed essential, and we will continue to work relentlessly to achieve it, the U.S. top diplomat told reporters. For now, the war raged on unabated in Hamas-ruled Gaza, where the health ministry said at least 100 people were killed overnight, and journalists reported more heavy bombing of southern cities. Israeli forces, in their campaign to destroy Hamas, have pushed steadily south, with the heaviest combat raging in the city of Khan Yunis in recent weeks. Fear has grown among the more than 1 million Palestinians now crowded into Gaza's far south, around the city of Rafah on the Egyptian border, as the battlefront has crept even closer. The UN Aid Coordination Office, OCHA, voiced alarm about looming major combat in the densely crowded area. The bloodiest ever Gaza war started with Hamas' unprecedented attack on Israel on October 7th, which resulted in the deaths of about 1,160 people, mostly civilians, according to an AFP tally based on official Israeli figures. Militants also seized around 250 hostages. Israel says 132 remain in Gaza, of whom 29 are believed to have died. Israel vowed to eliminate Hamas and launched airstrikes and a ground offensive that have killed at least 27,585 people, mostly women and children, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. The campaign has devastated swaths of Gaza and displaced the majority of its 2.4 million people, who have also endured dire shortages of food, water, fuel, and medicine. The humanitarian situation in long-blockaded Gaza has become beyond catastrophic, the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies said on Tuesday. Israeli strikes on the Syrian city of Homs on Wednesday killed 10 people, including at least 6 civilians, according to the Brighton-based war monitoring group, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights.
Away from Israel, let's head over now to Pakistan, where at least 22 people were killed on Wednesday in 2 separate bomb blasts outside the offices of election candidates in the southwestern parts of the country on the eve of a national vote marred by violence and allegations of poll rigging. Now, more than 500,000 security officers were deployed ahead of Thursday's election, with authorities distributing ballot papers to more than 90,000 polling stations.
There have been multiple security incidents in the run-in to the vote, with at least 2 candidates shot dead and dozens more targeted in attacks across the country. On Wednesday, a fast improvised explosive device blast killed 12 people near the office of an independent candidate in Pishin district, around 50 kilometers from the city of Quetta and 100 kilometers from the Afghan border. Caretaker Information Minister for Balochistan Province, Jan Achakzai, and Quetta police said 25 people were also wounded. A second improvised explosive device detonated near the election office of a candidate for the Islamist Jamiat Ulema-e-Islam party in the city of Kila Saifullah, about 120 kilometers east, according to Achakzai. In July last year, 44 people were killed by a suicide bomber at a political gathering of the party in northwestern Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. The election has been marred by allegations of pre-poll rigging following a crackdown on the party of jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan, winner of the 2018 poll, but booted out of power by a National Assembly vote of no confidence 4 years later. Campaigning officially ended on Tuesday night, and voting is due to begin at 8 a.m. local time Thursday, closing at 5 p.m. The figures are staggering in a country of 240 million people, the world's 5th most populous, with around 128 million eligible to vote. Nearly 18,000 candidates are standing for seats in the national and 4 provincial assemblies, with 266 seats directly contested in the former, an additional 70 reserved for women and minorities, and 749 places in the regional parliaments. The Pakistan Institute for Conflict and Security Studies, an Islamabad-based think tank, said there had been a staggering rise in militant attacks in the past year, with an average of 54 per month, the most since 2015, when the army launched a massive crackdown on militant groups. Whoever wins takes over a deeply divided country, observers say, with the economy in tatters.
Now, from the continent of Africa, Senegalese lawmakers have voted to delay this month's presidential election until December, an unprecedented move that has sparked international concern over a country normally seen as a beacon of stability in West Africa. Now, the bill was passed near unanimously with 105 votes in favor and 1 against after opposition deputies were forcibly removed from the chambers. It paves the way for President Macky Sall to remain in office until his successor is installed, despite growing concern about the erosion of democracy. We bring you scenes from this chaotic chamber.
L'Assemblée nationale, le président de la République ne peuvent pas reporter une élection présidentielle. Seul le Conseil constitutionnel peut reporter une élection présidentielle, et même ce report-là est très encadré. Donc ce qui nous réunit ici est tout simplement anticonstitutionnel. C'est pourquoi je dis qu'aujourd'hui, nous assistons à une tentative de fomenter un coup d'État constitutionnel.
L'objectif du gouvernement, c'est de faire un forcing et d'obtenir le report des élections parce qu'ils savent que leur candidat va perdre. D'ailleurs, c'est la première fois dans l'histoire qu'on voit un gouvernement porter des accusations et un groupe parlementaire porter des accusations de corruption contre son Premier ministre, son propre Premier ministre Amadou Ba. Et des accusations pas des moindres d'avoir corrompu des juges constitutionnels.
C'est une crise institutionnelle dans la mesure où des juges sont accusés de corruption, dans la mesure où notre candidat est accusé de corrompre des juges, et également dans la mesure où des candidats spoliés ont demandé à ce que...
Now, Chile has begun 2 days of national mourning for at least 123 victims of a raging wildfire, with the search of the missing persons continuing and survivors peek through the scorched remains of their lives. The streets were strewn with charred cars, debris and ash after flames tore through crowded hilltop neighborhoods in the coastal region of Valparaiso, in the world's third deadliest wildfire in this century. In the resort town of Vina del Mar, one of the hardest hit areas, volunteers brought in water, clothing and food while using shovels and brooms to help with the cleanup.
Fue muy rápido. El viento salió y como que nos encerró desde el jardín botánico y saltaron así unos trozos de brasas prendidas. Mi casa está allá al frente. La estoy viendo cómo se quema.
Este sector solamente entre 12 y 14 cuerpos, entre ellos niños, mayores de edad, adultos, mujeres, animales, pero lo más chocante es ver niños calcinados, gente fallecida en las calles y que nadie lo esté reconociendo, que nadie venga a llorarlo, nadie...
Now, a Kenyan court has charged the leader of a starvation cult and dozens of his suspected accomplices with murder over the deaths of nearly 200 people in a forest near the Indian Ocean known as Shakahola. Self-proclaimed pastor Paul Nthengi Mackenzie, who has already been charged with terrorism, manslaughter, as well as child torture and cruelty, is alleged to have incited hundreds of his followers to starve to death in order to meet Jesus.
On Tuesday, Pastor Mackenzie and 29 other suspects pleaded not guilty to 191 counts of murder. A 31st suspect was deemed to lack the mental fitness to stand trial and ordered to return to the Malindi High Court in a month's time. The cult leader has pleaded not guilty to all the charges against him. He was arrested in April last year after bodies were found in the Shakahola forest, with the grisly discoveries provoking horror across the world. Autopsies revealed that the majority of the 429 victims had died of hunger, but others, including children, appeared to have been strangled, beaten or suffocated. The case, dubbed the Shakahola Forest Massacre, led the government to flag the need for tighter control of fringe denominations. A largely Christian nation, Kenya has struggled to regulate unscrupulous churches and cults that dabble in criminality.
Still in Kenya, the latest update coming from the gas explosion that happened last week. The police say they have arrested the main suspect who triggered a huge fireball in a densely populated area of Nairobi last week. A total of 6 people lost their lives in the disaster and around 280 people were injured when a truck loaded with gas canisters exploded in Embakasi in the southeast of the Kenyan capital on Thursday.
Kenya's Directorate of Criminal Investigation said in a statement that its investigators have arrested the prime suspect who rented the gas depot where the blast occurred. Officials from the National Environment Management Agency have been accused of wrongly giving a license for the LPG filling and storage plant in such a densely populated area. 5 other suspects are still at large and are all wanted by Kenyan police. These include the manager of the site, another 2 NEMA employees, a truck driver and another driver.
Fire. The fire now caught us in the middle of the road. As we were running, the fire engulfed us. Then it burned my hands, both legs, my head. You can see my stomach and my chest.
President William Ruto, without mentioning NEMA, said at the weekend that licenses had been wrongly issued for gas installations in residential areas because of incompetence and corruption. Ruto said those responsible would be sacked and prosecuted for the crimes they have committed.
As it is, just to address the emergency situation, we were able to mobilize kits to take care of 500 people. That includes taking care of injuries, burns. In such situation, there are people who are burned. So various degrees of burn situation can be taken care of, and also, like I said, emergency surgeries.
NEMA had said on Saturday that a company, Maxis Nairobi Energy, had obtained a permit to operate a gas plant at the site in February last year. It said it had suspended 4 of its employees. The huge inferno left a trail of destruction in the residential and industrial area, destroying vehicles, business premises and residential homes. Embakasi has a population of about 1 million according to the 2019 census and lies close to Kenya's international airport. The Petroleum Institute of East Africa said the owner of the gas depot and some customers had previously been convicted and sentenced in May 2023.
And finally, from Tokyo, Lionel Messi says his leg injury is getting better. However, the World Cup winning captain also says that he does not guarantee that he will be fit to play in Inter Miami's pre-season friendly in Japan this week. 2 days ago, furious fans in Hong Kong booed Messi and club co-owner David Beckham, shouting refund after the Argentina great failed to take the field for a second sold-out friendly. Excitement has been building for the friendly at Tokyo's National Stadium, with Inter Miami's pink colors adorning parts of the city's trendy Shibuya district. Here's more from Messi himself.
Empiezo por lo segundo. La verdad que fue sí, mala suerte que no pude estar en el día del partido del Hong Kong, el primer partido de la gira de Arabia. Sentí una molestia en el aductor, por eso salí. En el segundo partido jugué los minutos que jugué para probarme y para ver las sensaciones que tenía y cómo me encontraba, porque me había hecho una resonancia y había salido que tenía un edema en el aductor, que lo tenía cargado, pero que no había una lesión, por eso intenté y probé. Lamentablemente, cosa de fútbol, en cualquier partido puede pasar que podemos tener una lesión. A mí me pasó, no pude estar en el partido de Hong Kong y es una lástima porque siempre quiero participar, quiero estar, y más cuando se trata de este tipo de partidos, que viajamos tan lejos y que la gente está tan ilusionada por ver los partidos nuestros. Ojalá podamos volver y podamos volver a jugar otro partido en Hong Kong y pueda estar presente como lo hago siempre que puedo, pero la verdad que una lástima que no haya podido participar. Y nada, hoy a la tarde vamos a entrenar, ya pasó la primera. Hoy a la tarde vamos a entrenar, me voy a probar nuevamente. La verdad que tengo muy buenas sensaciones a comparación de días atrás, y dependiendo de cómo vaya, ver si juego. Si te soy sincero, todavía no sé si podré o no, pero me siento muchísimo mejor y con mucha ganas de poder hacerlo.
And that's all the international news we had for you this afternoon. We'll be back again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Thank you for watching. Have a good afternoon.